So, Kingsglaive. It has an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes.
But is it really that bad?
Hi, I'm Jake.
And I'm Luke.
Welcome to Pixel Talk. So Final Fantasy XV got a movie, just like Final Fantasy VII. And some would say it's better, some would say it's not as good. Rotten Tomatoes certainly believes that it's not as good because I believe Advent Children got a much higher score on Rotten Tomatoes than Kingsglaive did.
Yes, it's very interesting, the divide between with Kingsglaive from the critics to the users, because
the users are genuinely very happy with the movie.
Yeah, it's about a 75% on Rotten Tomatoes,
which all things considered is pretty good. That is pretty good, I would say.
Yes, it's solid.
It's solid. People the majority of people walked out of that film feeling happy, and I saw it. I saw it twice. We both saw it twice together, and this episode is going to be about our experiences with Kingsglaive, Final Fantasy XV. So just so we preface this now, this Pixel Talk will have spoilers, so that's something to worry about.
But we'll mention beforehand if it's a spoiler.
We will.
But this is going to be sort of our review / discussion of Kingsglaive.
And first, I think we should start with the main character.
Yeah, let's start off with a little bit of a synopsis of
Nix Ulrich.
Yeah, so the film it takes place parallel to what Final Fantasy 15 is going to be.
Yeah, it takes place during the right before and during the first chapter of the game.
Yeah, so it starts off with Noctis and Luna and all them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of giving a background to the war between Lucius and Niflheim. And down the line, the war is it's going, and then King Regis, he gets his little enclave going called the Kingsglaive.
Yeah, he has they're like an elite force, and he gifts them with the power of magic, so that way they can fight with magic and stuff, and they become like his strongest force next to his soldiers and military. And
yeah, so the powers you see Noctis in the game using in 15, that's pretty much what they can do.
Basically, yeah. Except they're not royalty, so the Kingsglaive are actually a bunch of refugees. And they all come, at least from what I can gather, most of them come from this this nation called Galad, which Niflheim took over way back, and that's why they sort of had to flee to Lucius. So that's something interesting. I don't know if there are any non-Galadian Kingsglaive, but the main Kingsglaive are all from Galad. So it's interesting to think about. Were you gonna add something?
Yeah, I could see them. I would actually. That's something I wanted the movie to flesh out a little bit, because they're all refugees and they kind of came from nowhere.
They just say, "Oh yeah, we came from home," and
we have to get back to our home.
To our home. Our home is important.
This is our home. I came from a home too.
And yet we've never actually seen this home. We've seen it mentioned, and I hope that we'll be able to visit Galad, or at least what's left of Galad in the game. That would be really cool, and I'm actually expecting that. I'm expecting that we'll eventually be able to go check it out. But currently in the movie, without having the game right now, because the game isn't out until November 29th, all we have to go on is what they say. And Galad seemed like it was a nice place before Niflheim took it over, but now, if they had to flee, and Nick says that the people there are not so lucky, then it seems like it's not doing so great for them right now. So that's interesting. It's a little bit of the backstory of the Kingsglaive, but Nix Ulrich himself is voiced by Aaron Paul, and he is pretty much upbeat. He's a very upbeat kind of guy.
Kind of like that action movie kind of hero.
Oh yeah,
he's very
totally.
He says one-liners during.
Yeah. I'm worth the wait. Hero. Yeah. Although other people call him Hero, he doesn't call himself the hero. He's very humble, which is another heroic trait, I would say.
Yeah, so let's start off with the good. Let's start off with the things we liked about the movie.
Okay, yeah. Luna Freya, good stuff.
Good stuff.
Everything Luna Freya in this movie. I'm so excited to get to know her more in the actual game. Luna Freya, voiced by Lena Headey, or is it Lena Headey? I'm not sure.
I say Headey. It just sounds better.
Headey sounds better, yeah.
Big positive, the voice acting in the movie is really, really solid.
Oh, totally.
So Aaron Paul as Nitz does an incredible job. Mm-hmm. Even if I didn't find Nitz's character all that compelling. More on that later.
Yeah.
Aaron Paul did a very great job at selling that character. Sean Bean as King Regis.
Yep.
He fit the role perfectly.
Yeah. King Regis and Lady Luna were both really, really well done. And I would say they're probably the two best developed characters in the game. Probably also the two most important characters to develop. In the movie. In this movie for the game, because they're going to come back in the game.
Those are the two characters they had to get right.
Yeah, and they did get them right. So that's a very good thing. Also, the animation, beautiful.
Yeah, that's it's an incredibly gorgeous film.
Yeah, they spent so much time on it. And I heard it was actually made on the same floor as FF15 was being made on, which is just an extra tidbit.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
Oh, that's an interesting fun fact from the guru.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was
just
all on the same floor.
Yeah, everything just looked super gorgeous and hyper-realistic. Just a few little scenes kind of like didn't quite get out of the uncanny valley.
Yeah, just a couple of them.
Just the one in particular that comes to mind is when Arden requests an audience with King Regis.
In the very beginning,
Regis, it didn't look great because, I think it was the lighting that made his face kind of, looked like plastic and only his mouth was moving.
Yeah, that's true.
Other than that,
it started looking really good. That was the one scene. Sometimes characters, I feel like the voices are almost a little bit too in character compared to the model. There was this one scene I remember where this random dude was, screaming, but, he wasn't, the model himself wasn't emoting as much as the voice, which is something that I guess is kind of hard to get right because they're two different sides of production. But yeah, it's just another thing to, occasionally you notice that. But for the most part, it's a gorgeous movie. Yeah, gorgeous effects.
Yeah, the scenery was breathtaking.
The hair is so good, too.
Insomnia looked incredible.
Oh my gosh, totally.
Where Luna's from? Tenebrae?
Yeah, Luna's from the nation of Tenebrae.
Tenebrae. It looked incredible.
It does.
It was just super fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, we have a lot more good to say, but I think just for the sake of time, let's start talking about the things that we thought could have been a little bit better. And the first thing I want to mention, and this does actually get into a little bit of spoilers for about the next 45 seconds or so. I won't say who, but spoilers are happening now. There's a character I really, really like. And, this character is really nicely developed until suddenly they're dead.
Yeah.
Just all of a sudden, no chance to really get to know this character more than you could, and then the story has to just move on.
I feel like that's the biggest, one of the biggest faults of the movie is that a lot of the characters just aren't given the depth and backstory that they're that really do them justice.
Yeah, because they deserve a lot more.
Because that character you were mentioning. You literally know nothing about this character until they're dead, and then you get their backstory seconds after they die, and I'm just thinking, why couldn't this have been mentioned before? Characters are based on investment, and if I'm not invested, I'm not going to care about when these big emotional moments happen.
You can't invest in something after you've gone bankrupt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then another character I feel just didn't get a fair slice was Nyx.
Himself.
Not the title character, but the main character. The character who's forefront on the poster just was grossly underdeveloped.
He was. I mean, he's had great dialogue. He excelled in dialogue, but as far as us actually getting to feel sorry for him, we never really did. We more just relied on him to have to know what was going on, and I guess he did. But
the only bit of backstory Nyx got was about
something with his sister.
His sister, he couldn't protect his sister, and whenever that is mentioned, it's an hour and 45 minutes into the movie.
Mm-hmm. And you in the beginning, you do see a picture of him, or you see him looking at a picture of her on the wall, but we don't understand the full story at that point. So it's all right,
You only get glimpses of his flashbacks.
Yeah.
Now, the biggest complaint that critics have to say about this movie is that the plot is way too convoluted.
I would actually say it's a rather simple plot. It's just told in a very convoluted way. One review I was listening to actually said, that beginning part with Luna just giving that monologue in the the intro of the movie. This review I was reading said, "Oh yeah, it felt like she was reading from the Wikia article on the movie instead of actually reading the dialogue from it." And I guess to a certain extent, but Marlene did the same thing in Advent Children. Actually, worse, I'd say, because Marlene tried to sum up all of FF7 in 2 minutes in the beginning of Advent Children, and it was kind of awkward, off-putting. This intro was really actually exciting. I really liked the music that they tied in with it. The direction was really good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The music was great, too. Just to throw that out there.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Most of it's music from the game, but, it's still great music.
No, actually, only the main theme is in the game. Like, the song that plays during the party.
Yeah.
That's from the main game, but everything else was music developed specifically for this movie.
Oh, I learned something today.
Yeah, another tidbit from the Chocobo Guru.
Yeah, that's kind of related to another thing I wanted to say about the credits, was that the divide between critics and fans is
huge.
And I can kind of see where they're coming from, because, in my opinion, Kingsglaive doesn't really work as a standalone movie.
No, I think this is going to be a great movie for fans of the game. But if you're not a fan, or if you have no interest in the Final Fantasy 15 lore, you're better off not seeing it, because there's a lot of intricacies that the game sort of expects you to care about, and if you don't, then it's just not going to work for you.
Yeah, and even then, it's not that the plot itself is complicated, it's that they tried to cram so much information into a 2-hour movie.
A ton.
Because the movie only exists so Square doesn't feel the need to make sequel after sequel of 15. They wanted to tell the full story, so they did it in this very multimedia sense, with Kingsglaive, with Brotherhood, with the main game.
And maybe an expansion in the main game.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. So I think they made a smart choice, and if you are a fan of the game, if you're a fan of the game's story after it's out, and you want to go back and watch Kingsglaive, you'll probably love it a lot more than if you didn't know anything about the game or if you didn't care. Which I guess goes to say for anything, but specifically for this movie, it's extra very much this way, where if you do happen to care a little bit about the world, you'll get a lot more out of it.
Yeah, so I didn't... it's not like I disliked the movie. I feel like a few things definitely did fall short, but
right.
I was still entertained, and I feel like as far as video game movies go, it's
a good one.
It's pretty up there.
Definitely the best Final Fantasy movie we've gotten. I like it more than Advent Children, and I think it's better than Spirits Within, even though I don't hate the Spirits Within like most people do. Oh, and, man, I'm going to get executed. I'm no longer the Chocobo Guru for saying that. But still.
And some people kind of view it as an action movie.
Yeah, it is very much an action movie.
It does have some great action in it.
And it's got really good political backdrop. It's just that some people want character, me included, I want character development with my political backdrop. I don't want more politics and less character.
Yeah, it could have... I feel like it couldn't have juggled both. It tried to juggle both the Kingsglaive and the political backdrop with the treaty signing.
It tried to fit a season of Game of Thrones into a movie.
In fact, I think
I
would like to. I feel another reason why I feel like critics were kind of on the movie was because it's kind of. It kind of drops you in the middle of a story that kind of expects you to know what's happening.
Oh, totally.
I feel like it's if you ask someone to get into Game of Thrones and you just handed them Storm of Swords.
Yeah, it'd be like, what? What's going on here? Yeah. So, yeah. Overall, I give Kingsglaive a B-. That's my own personal grade for it. I think that, while I do enjoy watching it, it's not without flaws, but definitely the good things do outweigh the flaws in terms of how much I enjoy the movie. So that's what keeps it going from a C+ to a B-. I give it a B-.
So it's an enjoyable watch. At the very least, it's an inoffensive watch.
Oh yeah, totally. And if it could even be good if you do care about the lore, you'll get a lot out of it.
And I definitely do recommend watching the movie a second time.
Yes, totally.
Because the first time, even I was confused on certain elements, but I found myself enjoying the movie a lot more when I watched it a second time.
Yeah, it was definitely good and very interesting to rewatch. So,
and I'm interested in seeing how my view changes when I actually get my hands on 15.
Oh, I'm excited. Yeah. And by the way, I know we haven't done a Pixel Talk on Final Fantasy 15 Brotherhood. I almost said FMA Brotherhood. When the anime is fully completed, then we'll probably do a Pixel Talk.
Isn't it fully completed?
No, we still got, I want to say, 2 more episodes to go.
Really?
Yeah, 2 more. I think. I'm not sure. We have had, what, 1, 2, 3, 4?
Because we had... We went through all the Chocobros.
Yeah, I think there's 6 episodes total. So I think I might be wrong. Maybe there's 5, but regardless, we do have more to come. So we'll definitely do a Pixel Talk on that once that's all set and done. So thank you guys so much for watching.
And it's time for another last week recap.
Oh yeah, before we forget, we got to do that too. Now that we're off the Final Fantasy topic, I have unsheathed my head of the Chocobo.
So the Chocobo Redu, he had to leave, so Jade's back with us right now.
Yeah, I'm still cloaked in his skin, but here we're going to look at some comments.
So last week we talked about some of our interesting gaming habits.
We did.
And we wanted to know what you guys thought, and some of you had some interesting things to say.
Oh yeah, totally.
So our first comment comes from Zux.
Zux, who happens to be my loyal little brother.
Hello there, Zux. So Zux comments, one of my weird gaming habits is I usually play on the highest sensitivity a game has to offer.
Okay, like camera sensitivity.
Like,
yeah.
you tap and once it goes,
whatever floats your goat. I actually do that for Final Fantasy XIV. I have the camera mouse sensitivity set way up there. So
I can kind of see why.
Yeah.
I kind of go for like kind of middle of the road. But it irritates me when it's not sensitive enough rather than it being way too sensitive.
Absolutely. Next comment we have from our good friend Bucket.
So I know exactly what you mean about the reload thing. I'm the exact same. So it's good that we're not alone. I think that's a very common habit, I feel.
It's a pretty common one. I think it's definitely smart too. It's not only a habit, but it's a good habit to get into, specifically in games like Overwatch where you have to like reload quickly, and then if you don't, then you could be screwed.
Exactly.
You didn't. So, yeah. Next comment.
So we're back again with another Joel Villages. So I guess my gaming habits for party-themed RPGs is that I tend to have an even amount of both genders in my party. Example, Mass Effect. I always have one male and one female teammate. Tales of Persona, I always have 2 male and 2 female in my party. I don't care about their stats or skills, I just need an even amount of boys and girls in my parties.
Well, he's going to have a hard time with Final Fantasy XV. So,
big old sausage fest.
Yeah, definitely. Or Final Fantasy X too with good old YRP.
I actually tend to do that in Pokemon.
Yeah?
I like to have like 3 girl, 3 boy.
In terms of Pokemon alone, I don't actually pay attention to their genders. Maybe I should. Maybe I'm not being a good Pokemon trainer, but I just catch it, and whatever gender it is, as long as it's a Pokemon I want.
Well, some Pokemon have different stats depending on their gender.
That's true. That is very true. So, yeah.
And, I sometimes do that in RPGs too.
I do it as well. Final Fantasy XII, you get 3 boys and 3 girls, which is nice.
Especially when the female characters are. It depends on how compelling the character is, really.
Yeah. 13, actually, that was an upside to 13. It had a lot of girl power. You got Lightning and Fang.
Oh, yeah.
And then you also got, like, Snow and Hope and Saz. So, you got a lot. Vanille. So, yeah, that's definitely a lot of... in RPGs, I like to do that a lot, too. Totally.
Next comment comes from Joseph McConaughey. I used to hoard items and magic in FF8 until Kingdom Hearts 2, where I would never have enough money for potions or ethers.
Kingdom Hearts 2 was pretty terrible while not giving you enough money to buy things that you wanted until like you had that money, the money trick later. But that's like at the end of the game. So yeah, I feel you.
I'm actually not a money or I want to have as much money as possible. But inventory hoarder, I tend to just like kind of streamline it to whatever I need. I like to keep it as organized and as manageable as possible.
Yeah,
like in RE4. RE4. That was a game I really wanted to be organized.
The briefcase.
The attaché case.
Yeah. Yes. At the same time, I've seen your Final Fantasy XIV inventory. It could use some cleaning.
Well, I haven't played in 2 years.
That's true. And you came back.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had a lot of crafting items in there.
Yeah, you did.
But in general, I like to be organized.
Anyway, thank you so much for submitting your comments in last week's Pickle Talk. We're definitely going to be doing the same thing this week for next week.
Yeah, so in the comments, tell us what you thought of Kingsglaive, or if you haven't seen it, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, totally.
Anything about Kingsglaive.
Yeah, are you excited for the Final Fantasy XV, the game, the next episode of the anime? Totally.
Yeah, we would love to hear your thoughts, and we'll feature them in next week's Pixel Talk. What we're doing then, I have no idea.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise.
So until then, see you guys next time.
Take care.